Hello and welcome to the Hard to Handle Sports Podcast. This is episode number 62. My name is Ismael San Juan. Thank you so much for being here. Alexander Zverev wins the Cincinnati Open, defeating Rublev in 2 straight sets. The US Open is less than a week away. Who is going to win it? Jacksonville Jaguars running back Travis Etienne is out for the season with a Linz Frank injury. New York Knicks, Nerlens Noel is suing Rich Paul. That's some crazy stuff right there. In the Premier League, after 2 weeks, Chelsea looks like the most dominant team. They play against Liverpool this Saturday. We'll touch on that. All of that on this episode of the Hard to Handle Sports Podcast. Let's get started. Alexander Zverev, Sasha, he is in the form of his life. 11 straight wins, another ATP Masters 1000 victory. He defeats Rublev in 2 straight sets, looking like the better player, completely overpowering Rublev with his forehand, with his serves. He was just on fire. The match was over in 59 minutes, I believe. It was less than an hour. It was a quick match. I'm just very impressed by Zverev after losing the US Open last year, after being up 2-0 and losing in that way, in that manner, to be able to bounce back within a year, win the Olympics, win the Cincinnati, and he won some other Masters 1000s throughout this year. So it's just very impressive by Zverev. It looks like he's matured. It looks like he's not just a great player with his skills, with the way he moves, with his forehand, with his servings. It looks like he's finally getting the mental part of the game. And I think it was very apparent when he was down 2 breaks against Tsitsipas in the 3rd set, and it kind of looked like he was down and out. It looked like Tsitsipas had fought back to win the 2nd set. It looked like he was in control of the 3rd set. It looked like it was over. It looked like it was done. Maybe a Zverev of past would have lost that one, but he dug deep. He came back down 2 breaks and won against Tsitsipas, another really good player. And in the final, he just looks dominant. 6-2, 6-3 victory over Andrew Rublev. Rublev, who's now 0-5 against Zverev, had taken off Medvedev. So Rublev had a great week too in Cincinnati. He had a good tournament. And Zverev, who had never won a match in Cincinnati, I think he was 0-6 going into the Cincinnati Open all time in Cincinnati. Just had a great week. They asked him after the match if he was playing the best tennis of his career, and he said, "Ask me that again in 3 weeks." Meaning, we'll see, because I'm pretty sure Zverev, he's won some ATP Masters 1000s. He's now, I think, tied for 9th place all time since the Masters 1000 started, I believe in 1990 with 5. I think I read that somewhere. So good for Zverev, but he knows what the goal is. He wants to win a major. He wants to win the US Open. He wants to win one of these majors. And the US Open is coming. Djokovic obviously is a heavy favorite. We'll touch on that in a little bit. But Zverev, I believe he's playing one of the best tennis in his career. He's looking dominant. He has that confidence from winning a gold medal. A gold medal, man, that could do a lot for you. It did a lot for Nadal. It did a lot for previous players before. So it did a lot for Murray. And it looks like it's doing a lot for Zverev right now. He has all the confidence in the world. He believes in himself. He could be down 2 breaks. He could be down a set. It looks like Zverev is just the mental part of his game is just finally maturing. He's now the 4th ranked player in the world, moving ahead of Nadal. Nadal, unfortunately, did announce that he's going to be out for the season. He's not going to play until 2022. So hopefully Nadal recovers and we're able to see him back on tour, back to, being the physical, tenacious player that we know he is. But in the meantime, Zverev, it looks like he's taking the throne of, the best player from that next generation. Obviously, Tsitsipas is still there. Medvedev, he had a great tournament in Toronto. He's still 25 years old. Rublev is 23. It looks like he's stepping it up too. Berrettini, 25. We'll see what Shapovalov does. There's other players out there that, have great potential, and they've done great stuff too. But for my book, Zverev looks like he's the one. He's the one that's going to step up and take that next step and try to take the crown away from Djokovic right now, because we talk about the big 3, but man, it's starting to seem like it's a big one. I've seen comments out there where people say, "What big 3? It's only a big one." And it's kind of hard to dispute that, man. Nadal is out of for the season. It looks like Federer, he's recovering. He's having knee surgery again. He's trying to make a comeback, but it looks like the last man standing at a big three is Novak Djokovic, and who's gonna take him down? It's becoming harder and harder for the other two of the big three to take him down. It's looking like they're getting old. Their body's taking a lot of wear and tear. It looks like it's gonna have to be somebody else to bring him down, to take that number one spot, to start taking majors away from him. It looks like it's gonna have to be somebody else. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we see a comeback. Rafael Nadal, his body starts giving up on him, and his foot finally starts nagging him, and he's able to get back on tour in 2022, and we see the best Nadal, or one of the best forms of Nadal that we've seen. But for Federer, it's looking harder and harder with his age. He's already 40. It's already amazing that he's still playing at this age, but it's looking like more and more rare for Federer to have a elite comeback. Like I don't think he's gonna fail and he's not gonna be good anymore. I think he's still gonna be a top 10 player or compete at a highest level and get far into tournaments. But the Federer that we know, that we love, and the one that's always gonna be competing for titles, it's looking harder and harder for him to come back. And Nadal a little less hard, but that foot injury that keeps nagging him, has been nagging him his whole career. So what I'm trying to say is it looks like Djokovic is the last one standing for the big three. Hopefully I'm wrong, but that's just the way it looks like as of today. And one of these young guns is going to have to eventually bring him down. Zverev took him down in the semifinals of the Olympics. He's beaten him before. He has, he's skilled. He has all the talent in the world to take that next step. And like I said, it looks like he finally has his mentals right. And that's exciting. That's exciting if you're a Zverev fan. That's exciting if you're a German fan that supports, your hometown hero, your national hero. But it's also exciting if you're just a tennis fan. I know there's a lot of tennis fans that are kind of worried. They're kind of skeptical about what's coming next after the big three. Like, is it still going to be fun? Is it still going to be exciting? Like, have we been spoiled these last 10, 15, 20 plus years with the big three? Like, what's after this? The next chapter in tennis looks a little daunting. It looks a little scary. And I agree. It's after you've been blessed with seeing probably the three greatest players of all time in the same era, you're scared of what's going next once they retire. You don't want them to ever retire. You don't want them to get old. You don't want their body to start failing on them. But it's inevitable. So we got to root these young guys on. And for my book, Zverev is that guy. He's the one that I'm probably going to root for the most. He's the one that looks like he's ready to take that next step. And we'll see. He's had a great couple months back to back. He's had a great summer. Olympics, Cincinnati. We'll see how he wraps it up in the U.S. Open. I can't wait. But speaking of the U.S. Open, it is right around the corner. We are less than a week away from the U.S. Open. Some people call it the greatest tennis tournament that we have today. Others, they could say that that's American bias, that it's the Wimbledon, that even the French Open is more important than the U.S. Open. Wherever you rank the U.S. Open, you can't deny that you're excited for it, and it's a big spectacle, and we're all just excited to have, packed stadiums, fans there, hear the rumbling, hear the buzzing, and I'm super excited. I can't wait to tune in after watching, the French Open and Wimbledon, and I myself live in the U.S., so having to adapt to those time changes, it's going to be a welcome sight to have matches played in American time. Sorry for all the international people, if you guys are listening to this or watching this. It's your turn to wake up early, and it's your turn to, go to sleep late to catch some games. For me, now I'm excited to catch some 11 a.m. games, some 3 p.m. games. So I'm very excited for that. And I'm also excited, to see the talent on the field, the U.S. Open. Who do I think is going to win? Man, well, Djokovic, he's the heavy favorite. No surprise there. Vegas has him at minus 150. You bet 100. You have to bet 150 to win 100. After that, Medvedev, and then Zverev, Tsitsipas, Berrettini, Sinner, Rublev, Karasej, Raonic, Shapovalov, FFA, Andy Murray it's in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He's a 12th favorite. So, all your usual suspects. Nick Kyrgios 15th, I believe. So all your usual suspects are there. Djokovic, like I said, he's the heavy favorite, as he should be. He's going for that calendar Grand Slam. Medvedev, he's had a great year too. Zverev, like I've spoken earlier, he's in the form of his life. It's going to be a good tournament, regardless if Nadal and Federer are not there, which is very unfortunate. I just want to see. I hope we get to see another Grand Slam with the big three, all healthy, all in form, all just competing for the Grand Slam to add to their tally, to add to the record books. But for now, we'll have to settle for Djokovic going for history, being the first one to get to 21, being going for the calendar Grand Slam, which in of itself, it's a crazy accomplishment. He's going for the one of the best seasons, if not the best season ever. And it's Djokovic against the field, like we've been saying, like I've been saying since the French Open and Wimbledon. It's Djokovic against the field, and it's crazy. Like it's really crazy when you think about it. Like you take Djokovic against the field any day, it's just he's that good. He's in that good of a form. He's playing exceptional tennis, but I think I'm gonna have to go out on a limb and say that I don't think he's gonna win it. I've been rooting for him. I've been rooting for Djokovic. I said he was gonna win Wimbledon. He did. I thought he was gonna win 2 gold medals at the Olympics. He didn't. So I'm just trying to say I'm not a Djokovic hater. I know there's a lot of people out there that like to hate on him. There's a lot of Djokovic defenders that are gonna watch this and probably dislike the video or comment below and say he's the greatest ever and he's the best thing since sliced bread. And I get it. He's an amazing player, but like I said before, I think Zverev's time is coming. And after losing the U.S. Open up 2 sets last year, I think he gets it together this year. I think he's 11 straight wins going into the U.S. Open. That serve is on point. That backhand is on point. That forehand is on point. The movement is there. His head, his mental part of the game is just in another level. And I think Zverev gets his first Grand Slam and prevents Djokovic from getting the calendar Grand Slam. And we're going to see him hoisting that U.S. Open trophy at the end of this tournament. What was it, September 10th or something? Whenever the tournament ends, I think it's going to be Zverev. I know it might seem crazy. I know Djokovic fans are going to be calling me names. They're going to say I'm dumb. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I just feel it, man. I feel the momentum. I feel Zverev just taking his game to that next level. When he was down 2 breaks in the final deciding 3rd set against Tsitsipas and he came back and he never gave up, that was when I was like, okay, this is a different Zverev. He's ready. He's ready to take that next step. He's ready to be the man. And sure enough, he took care of Rublev in the final. And the way he came back against Djokovic in the Olympics too, like I still have that match ingrained in my head. How he was down a break in the 2nd set and just went on a roll and just completely demoralized Djokovic, basically snatched his heart out of him. And Djokovic, started throwing some tantrums and he lost his composure. And we don't see Djokovic lose his composure too much, especially nowadays that he's, the number 1 player. He's been the number 1 player for a while. He's had one of the best years ever, if not the best year. We just don't see Djokovic lose his composure like that in 2021. And for Zverev to do that, to dig deep and come back against Djokovic in the semifinal of the Olympics, down a break in the 2nd set, and then to come back in the 3rd set against Tsitsipas, it just, like the announcer said, like the tennis channel interviewed him after the Cincinnati Open, and they're like, dude, you're playing the best tennis in your career, and it could have been so easy for him to just be like, hey, I feel like I am, you're right, I feel it myself, 11 straight wins, I just won gold, I just won the Cincinnati Open, a Masters 1000. It could have been so joyous, so such a me moment, and no one would have blamed him. You just won a big tournament like the Cincinnati Open, one of the most prestigious tournaments that's not a Grand Slam. And he deflected. He has goals. He knows what his goals are, and he straight up told him, he's like, hey, ask me that question again in 3 weeks. And the way he showed respect to Rublev as a fellow player that he grew up with, the way he didn't celebrate, shouted out his brother. There's just so many characteristics that I'm really liking about Zverev right now. Telling his brother happy birthday, the spotlight's not all on him, showing immense respect for Rublev, telling him that he's a great player and they're going to continue to um, compete in the biggest stages, even bigger than the Cincinnati Open. And then he caught himself. It was a funny moment. If you guys didn't see it, it was pretty funny. He was like, oh, and maybe even bigger than this. And then he caught himself. He's like, not to say that the Cincinnati Open final is not a big, it's not a big stage. I'm just saying, like, we're going to keep competing in big stages. And then the crowd laughed. And, everyone kind of knew that, like, hey, we know what you're saying. Like, you don't have to apologize or, explain yourself. But he did. And it just shows how aware he is. And like I said, I'm really enjoying Zverev's game right now. I'm enjoying how he's carrying himself. I'm enjoying how focused he is. He's so set on what he wants to accomplish. And that's just very, very entertaining for me. And it's making me a very big fan of him. And I hope he wins the US Open. I wouldn't mind if he doesn't. Djokovic just completes the calendar Grand Slam. I wouldn't mind that at all. So if anyone decides to, write some comments and say that I don't know what I'm talking about, this is just my opinion, my prediction. Obviously, not all of us could be right. One of us are going to be wrong. I was wrong with the Olympics. I thought Djokovic was going to win 2 gold medals, and he won no medals. So I'm just saying, I really like what Zverev is doing right now. He's in hot, fiery form, and I think he's going to win his first Grand Slam, and it's going to be the US Open this year. And we could revisit this. I'll make some videos as the US Open goes. Tennis is unpredictable. He might even get upset in one of the early rounds, and I'll look like a dumbass, and I'll come on here and I'll take it on the chin. But like I said, his game, the way he's carrying himself, the way he's just very aware of where he's at right now and the form that he's on, and he's not carrying himself like he's amazing. He's still humble. He's hungry, and I want to see this man succeed. And obviously, if he doesn't win this year, it's not the end of the world. I mean, it could crush him. If he gets to a final and he loses back to back. But the way he's carrying himself, the way I see Zverev, I think he has a bright future. And if it's not this year, he's definitely gonna get one eventually. But I just really think it's gonna be this year. But let me know. Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, the most common answer should be Djokovic. And, Vegas odds reflect that. So I'm expecting a lot of Djokovic answers. But let me know what you guys think. There's other players there. Medvedev, he definitely has a chance. He's good on hardcourt. He just won the Toronto Open. Tsitsipas, Berrettini, they're big hitters. We'll see. Maybe even Shapovalov could have another run. But he hasn't been impressing as of late. Andy Murray, I'm just kidding. But let me know what you guys think. Who do you guys think is going to win the US Open, which is less than a week away? You guys should all be excited because I am very, very excited. The Jacksonville Jaguars running back Travis Etienne is out for the season with the Linz Frank injury that he suffered against the Saints. Oh, my God. I just feel very, very sad for Jaguar fans, for the state of Florida, for anyone that, fantasy owners of Etienne. Is very, very sad to see this man go down. The Jaguars as a whole, as a team and offense, they're not very speedy. They don't have a lot of weapons. They don't have too many players they can rely on to, break one open, go the distance. Sometimes it's good to have a great offense that could methodically go down the field, go on 8+, 10+ plays, drives, and, take your offense down the field. But it's also important to have big, quick hitters. As we see in the Chiefs could do it both ways. They could go march down the field, or they could hit Tyreek Hill for 80. They could hit, one of their other speedsters. Even Travis Kelce could go for 50 yards and just blow the game open. And you're like, whoa, like they just marched down the field. Why are we going back on offense? It's just crazy. You got to be able to hit the big plays, and the Jaguars don't have too many players that could do that. And, Travis Etienne, he was supposed to be that guy for them. He started the offseason with running wide receiver drills. They looked at him as like, a do-it-all. I'm with Le'Veon Bell 2.0 kind of. Wide receiver, running back, everything. Some wildcat, I'm pretty sure. They were going to have this man do everything. He was going to be their jack of all trades with Robinson. But I guess not. It looks like, there was other plans, and hopefully he comes back next year. stronger than ever. I did see on NFL Network that because he didn't make the 53-man roster and he was put on IR, there's no way he could come back this season. So that is it for Etienne. There's not going to be a late season, addition to the Jaguars if they're in playoff contention or if they're one of the teams that does make the playoffs. He's done for the season. And man, I just feel for Lawrence. His college teammate got brought in, and a weapon that could help him develop. He goes to the worst team in the NFL. He needs weapons. He needs players. He needs people to help him out, in his development. It can't just be him by himself. But it looks like he's gonna have to carry the load, and I feel for the man because we see the Bear fans asking for Justin Fields, we see the Niners asking for Trey Lance, rightfully so. Like if I was a fan of both teams, I would be asking for both of them. But for the Jaguars, it's gonna be Lawrence, and they're gonna expect a lot out of him. And man, to not do it with a weapon like Etienne it's rough. I don't wish that on him. He does have James Robinson, so they should still be good at the running back position. But Etienne was going to give them so much more speed. He runs a 4.45 40 compared to James Robinson, who runs in the 4.6s, I believe I saw. So just a different speed, and he's quicker on the field than that 4.4 in my opinion. He moves faster. He's shifty. He's elusive. He's like Kamara. He could do everything. He's electrifying. He looks so smooth with the ball in his hands. So it's just unfortunate for the Jaguars. Man, I just feel for you. If you're a Jaguars fan, I feel for you. I mean, I think Lawrence should still be good. Like he was hyped up. He is one of the best quarterback prospects ever to make it to the NFL. So I still think he's made some amazing throws in the preseason. He's made some throws rolling to the right, rolling to the left, across his body, and it looks like he has good touch. It looks like it's going to translate to the NFL. But it just gets harder and harder, And for the Jaguars, who they're not one of the perennial playoff teams in the NFL. They're not one of the teams that have a lot of long history of winning. It just seems like it's just bad luck after bad luck after bad luck for them. And it looks like they just keep losing that Jalen Ramsey trade too. Etienne was one of those first-round picks. They used another one on an edge rusher last year, and he didn't really work out. He started 3 games for them last year and didn't really do much. Didn't really contribute. It was K. Lavon Chaseon, and he had like 1 sack. I think he played like 13 games. So not the return that you want to get for him. That was the other first-round pick. Travis Etienne was the first-round pick this year, and he's out for the season. Meanwhile, Jalen Ramsey is being an all-pro, being a Pro Bowler with the Rams. So you tell me who won that trade. I feel for the Jaguars. I feel for Etienne. And for anyone to get hurt in the preseason it's sad. You hate to see it. It's one of the worst things that could happen to a football player, getting hurt in a game that doesn't matter. But he's young. It's a foot injury, so that's scary for a running back. But I think he should be fine. I think he'll come back in 2022, and it'll help the Jaguars be better in 2022. But I just hope this doesn't hurt Trevor Lawrence too much, because that team is not stacked by any means. He needed all the weapons he could get, and to lose a dynamic. I don't even want to label him a running back. I just want to call him a playmaker. To lose a dynamic playmaker like Etienne before the season even starts, you can't even get your feet wet. You can't even have a nice check down. Your college teammate, he was gonna bring a nice level of comfort for Trevor Lawrence. To just see his teammate out there, just make him feel like he's at home, make him feel like he's in college where he was, dominating college football, and just make him feel relaxed. I could do this. My boy Etienne right here and me, we were running shit. Like we were doing this. This is what we do. We just make shit happen. And now Etienne is gone. He's done for the season. Hopefully he stays around the team to bring morale, pump up Trevor Lawrence, be there, be his teammate that he was for him. But what do you guys think? Are the Jaguars going to be fine? Do they still have an outside chance, to maybe be a competitive team? What's your prediction for them? I'm going to make my predictions for the NFL soon because the season is coming up. But, it's looking hard for the Jaguars. I don't expect them to be an important team in 2021. No offense to Jaguars fans, no offense to Trevor Lawrence fans, James Robinson's fans. I just don't see them being an important team. And by important, I just mean a team that's like, you circle their matches week 12, 13. All their games matter, and you're starting to see who lines up against them or who's even playing spoiler. I just think they're a couple years away. That roster needs more help. You got to give it time to, for it to build. Trevor Lawrence is a good starting point. It looked like Etienne was going to be a good starting point too, but we'll wait till 2022. And I feel for you Jaguars fans. The sports world could be cruel sometimes. You could feel like it's why us again? Why are the injury bugs hurting us again? It just feels like some teams just get hurt more than others, and it's just unlucky. Sometimes it could be preparation, other times, but this one seems like it was just a freak injury. Just it wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. So I feel for Etienne. Hope you come back stronger than ever. And good luck to the Jaguars. Good luck to Trevor Lawrence. Wish you the best in 2021, even though I don't expect the most from you guys. And in other news, the New York Knicks' Nerlens Noel is suing Rich Paul from Klutch Sports, claiming that he lost him $58 million in potential salary. This is crazy news. Rich Paul from Klutch Sports, one of the most renowned sports agents in the world, if not the most renowned one. We all know he represents LeBron, AD. Whenever someone signs for Klutch Sports, you're like, oh, there's the Rich Paul machine, Is he going to go to the Lakers? He's going to get paid. He's gotten a lot of players played. He's one of the most renowned names out there. I feel like everyone that's in the NBA scene, everyone that follows the NBA knows who Rich Paul is, knows, the rags to riches story of his. There's a lot to be, applauded for. He has a lot of things to be applauded for. But this one's interesting because Nerlens Noel, he's one of those players that you think of when you think of players that left money on the table. Obviously, everyone's making jokes about Dennis Schroeder turning down $84 million for the Lakers and, getting the exemption with the Celtics, going from $84 million to, I believe, $5 or $6 million for 1 year. It's just crazy how much money he left. Oladipo is another one that's left money on the table. Mohammed from the Timberwolves was another one, but Nerlens Noel, he was another one. The Mavs offered him $84 million, I believe, in 2017, and he turned it down. Basically, in this lawsuit, he's claiming that Rich Paul didn't pay attention to him. He basically went down the pecking order of the players that he was representing, and he's saying that he gave him bad advice, and it cost him basically $54 million. So he was offered a 4-year, $70 million deal by the Mavericks, and Nerlens Noel rejected it because Rich Paul told him not to. And then after that, he didn't play that well the next year, and basically he never saw another offer like that. He was Schroeder before Schroeder in simple terms. But I think Schroeder betted on himself. I don't know if his agent told him. I haven't read up on it too much. But I think Schroeder was the one that was like, nah, I'm worth more than this. In Noel's case, it looks like it was Rich Paul, the one that was consulting him, telling him that he was a $100 million player, that he should not take that offer. And it cost him. He ended up signing a one-year qualifying offer for $4.1 million. And he broke his thumb that season. He only played 42 games. His numbers dropped. And he didn't resign with the Dallas Mavericks. Ended up with OKC. And league minimum $3.7 million as a backup. And after that, he went to the Knicks. Last year, he actually played really good with the Knicks. And I think he earned himself some money. Let me look it up real quick. I should have had this. I apologize. But let's see. I think 3 years, $27 million. So good for him. He finally got some of that money. Not the same as what he would have gotten before without Rich Paul. But he did get his money. And when does that expire? He's a free agent in 2024. So good for him. He's making money. Obviously not the money that he was trying to make, but he's suing Rich Paul. So this is a crazy story to follow because Rich Paul, obviously, he's it's rack to riches story, and he's on the rich side right now. So he's probably gonna have a lot of lawyers. He's gonna have a lot of people backing him up. He's gonna have a strong team behind him. Nerlens Noel, I mean, he's coming with some facts. I do remember him turning down that offer back in the day. And Noel claims that in the lawsuit that Klutch didn't make him a priority when he was a free agent, wasn't responsive to teams looking to sign him as a free agent, and failed to execute a multi-year deal with the Thunder that he was told was in the works. Noel separated with Paul last season after signing with the Knicks. So yeah. So basically just saying there was a lot of negligence. There was a lot of, disinterest from Rich Paul. He was basically, it was like LeBron, AD, a bunch of other players, a gap. Rich Paul's a shoe guy, the lechero, the carnicero, and then another gap, and then Nerlens Noel. That's basically what he's saying. He was like, I was down in the pecking order. You didn't really care about me. You didn't take me as your client seriously. And in the NBA, when your agent's supposed to be on top of things, he's supposed to be the guy that it's working for you, is working to get money, is working to getting you paid. You're supposed to be able to be a player that just focuses on the game. You shouldn't have to worry about reading a contract, calling teams, looking to get you signed, looking to get yourself money. Like, there is cases of players representing themselves, but for the most part, players like to have their agent do all the talking so that they could just focus on their game. So if Nerlens Noel is right, if he's able to prove this, we'll see. I don't think they specified amount for how much he's suing it, but this is a crazy story, man. I'm gonna follow it. I think everyone should. It's crazy because he's going against Rich Paul, Klutch Sports. And if Nerlens Noel wins this case against Rich Paul from Klutch Sports, probably the biggest agent in the game today and the biggest, sports agency in the game right now, then I wonder if it will lead to more people trying to sue their agents, and what kind of rift that would bring in the agent to player, relationship. Will Schroeder look at this and be like, oh, my agent did the same thing with me? Like, what's going on here? Will other players do that? Will Oladipo? There's a lot of stories where you see players leave a lot of money, bet on themselves, or someone advises them to bet on themselves, and it doesn't work out for them, and they're done. They don't even end up in the league anymore, or they play for minimum and they fizzle out. Good for Nerlens Noel, because I thought he was gonna fizzle out for a little bit, but he was able to get himself a role, and he looked good with the Knicks last year, so I'm happy for him. But this is just interesting. It's interesting to see where this is going to go. What do you guys think? Who do you guys side with? Are you guys with Rich Paul? Or are you guys with Nerlens Noel? Somewhere in the middle? You don't care? Let me know. I'm kind of leaning like, I think Nerlens Noel might have a case, because Rich Paul does look like he covets like the big stars. Like, if we were to talk about 2K, like if you're a 90+ overall player, those looks like the players that Rich Paul usually represents. But for Nerlens Noel, being like a 78 to 82 rated player in 2K, he might have been, in the back of his list. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Definitely something to keep an eye out going forward. We're 2 weeks into the Premier League, and Chelsea have been dominant, beating Crystal Palace 3-0, beating Arsenal 2-0 at Arsenal. And now they play against Liverpool this weekend. I'll touch on that in a little bit. Probably make another episode before the game on Saturday. But I just want to touch on Chelsea. Chelsea looks dominant. They look very, very powerful going forward. And now they have Lukaku playing up there, scoring, getting on the score sheet, being dominant, being that big player that we all have, seen him grow up throughout the years. He's always had that body that he just throws on anybody. He has the strength. He's a menace in the box. He's a menace, as a postman. And now he's just lethal. He's one of the best number 9s in the world. And for Chelsea to add him to already the Champions League winners of last year is just incredible. I find myself rooting for Chelsea. I find myself watching them games and being very, very entertained. Thomas Tuchel has Chelsea running rampant right now. They're probably one left back and one center back away from being the best team clearly in Europe. And it's just, that team is so stacked. That team is deep. You look at their subs last week against Arsenal, bringing Conte in from the sub, a Ballon d'Oro finalist, a Ballon d'Oro contender, to bring him from the bench, already up 2-0, I believe the score was when he came in. Kovacic playing good. Jorginho playing probably the best soccer right now. He's in a good form. Mount, Havertz, Lukaku. This team just looks very, very solid. Thiago Silva, Conte, Werner, Suma, Hudson-Odoi, Chilwell, CH, all in the bench. Like, Chelsea looks very, very intimidating, if I do say so myself. Thomas Tuchel has Chelsea playing some very organized, very, simple at times, but very organized, and just everyone knows what they're doing. Everyone has a role, and they do it to a teeth. And I like what I'm seeing. I picked them to win the Premier League, and after 2 weeks, nothing really that I have seen has changed my mind. Obviously, I'm impressed by how West Ham is playing. Good job for them. They look like they're gonna be there. They're gonna be another team that, fluctuates from 1 to 6. But I feel like they're gonna be there till the end of the season. I think I ranked them too low on my rankings. They've done great stuff in these first 2 games, and Liverpool have looked good too. That Chelsea versus Liverpool game is gonna be amazing. It's gonna be electric. Tottenham 2 for 2 with Nuno. Manchester United, they tied this week, so they dropped some points. City lost the first week, but they look good. 5-0 win against Norwich this week. Some good stuff from the other teams, but Chelsea, for my money, they've been the most impressive team through 2 weeks. They're the most complete team. They have a great manager who knows what he's doing. Who is not afraid to, change things up. It looks like he has the whole locker room together. Everyone seems pretty happy from what I could tell, and they're enjoying their football. They're enjoying their soccer right now, and I'm just happy for Chelsea. Shout out to all my Chelsea friends, all my Chelsea fans out there, people that listen to this. It's a good time to be a blue. It's a good time to, London is definitely blue right now, and shout out to Chelsea. They could realistically go for everything this year. They could go for the FA. They could go for the league. They could go for Champions League repeat. That team is stacked. Barring injuries, Chelsea is a team to look out for. And for any team, even PSG, who is stacked right now and is the heavy favorites for the Champions League. Chelsea's coming, man. And, transfer window's still open. There's still some stuff that could happen. Namely Mbappe to Real Madrid. If that happens, that kind of levels the playing field a little bit for everyone else trying to compete against PSG. But we'll see what happens. But Chelsea, like I said, they beat Arsenal handily. I think they dominated that game. Crystal Palace didn't have a chance against them. I think they're going to beat Liverpool at Anfield this weekend. And we'll see. But what do you guys think? Who do you think has been the most impressive team in these first 2 match days? As a Wolves fan, I could tell you that it's not the Wolves. There's a lot of goals that the Wolves are leaving on the field. They won today in the cup against Nottingham Forest 4-0, so maybe the goals will come. The Manchester United game this weekend should be electric too. I'll probably do a preview on that. That's going to be a good one. But the Premier League is back, you guys. We're 2 weeks in. It's starting to move. It felt like it was just not like yesterday that the league was starting, and we're already almost in match day 3. So things move quickly. I apologize for not too many videos on the Premier League. I should be ramping them up as the league keeps going forward. But so far, my predictions, I think they're going all right. I had Wolves finishing in the top 10, and they've yet to score a goal. So that one's looking a little ugly. But for the champions, like I said, I predicted Chelsea to win in a close one. It's going to come down to the wire, in my opinion. I think it's going to end up in the low 80s to mid 80s. But Chelsea have, I'm not worried about Chelsea's after 2 weeks is basically what I'm trying to say. And they look solid. They look like legit title contenders. City, they had a hiccup in week 1, but I think they'll be there too. Manchester United, we'll see if they're able to stack some wins. This game against Wolves is going to be key for United too, because Wolves haven't scored a goal and they've lost 2 games in a row to start the season, but they have not played bad. So there's a silver lining for us Wolves fans out there. So we'll see how United responds or plays against Wolves in Molineux. But like I said, Chelsea is my favorite to win the title, and I think they're going to beat Liverpool. I touched on that game a little bit more, but I just wanted to re-emphasize that Chelsea is the team to beat in the Premier League. Lukaku is going to make a lot of defenses pull their hair out, and they're just playing very organized, very compact football right now. They have yet to concede a goal, and they might not even concede to Liverpool. They're playing that solid. Tuchel has them playing excellent football. But what do you guys think? Who do you think is the best team after 2 weeks? Is it Tottenham? They've won 2 in a row. Is it West Ham? They look great on Monday, defeating Leicester 4-1. That was a unexpected score in my opinion. They play Crystal Palace next. We'll see how they keep going. Is it Liverpool? They look pretty good too. And don't want to not mention Liverpool. Brighton, surprisingly, 2 for 2, 6 points. But yeah, Man City 5-0. Great way to bounce back after losing to Tottenham. Who's the best team after 2 weeks? That's the question of the day. For my money, it's Chelsea. For you guys, it might be different, but let me know. Who do you guys think has been the best team after 2 weeks? But that should do it for this episode of the Hard to Handle Sports Podcast. We had a lot of good topics today. The Alexander Zverev quickly becoming one of my favorite tennis players. He's my prediction, hot take for the U.S. Open. Jacksonville Jaguars, hopefully for Trevor Lawrence. He has enough weapons and he doesn't miss Etienne too much. Rich Paul against Nerlens Noel. Crazy stuff. And for the first 2 weeks in the Premier League, I think Chelsea has been the best team in the Premier League. Let me know what you guys think about all my opinions. Please feel welcome to tweet at me and reply to the YouTube video. Wherever you're watching this, just let me know what you guys think. And tune in for the next episode. I'm going to dive into the Chelsea versus Liverpool. I'm going to get my prediction on that. I'm going to probably do a Wolves versus United prediction. And we'll follow the Nerlens Noel situation. We'll see how that does. But that should do it for this episode of the Hard to Handle Sports Podcast. Make sure to subscribe and have a great rest of your day.